The internet's an interesting place. There are so many trends that on the surface look so fun. Right now I see so much content about how to make your life more whimsical, and I love this concept of bringing color and expression into your life to make it more vibrant. But before this, there was the idea of romanticizing your life in order to bring some excitement to the more mundane moments. And it seems so innocent, founded in aesthetic, that it blinds us from how harmful it can actually be. Because somewhere along the way, the internet stopped telling us to enjoy our lives and started telling us to shrink them. Welcome to Touching Grass, your escape from all of the digital noise. My name is Sophia, and this podcast is all about dissecting social media rhetoric, giving grounded and empathetic takes, and just analyzing the human experience. And today I want to talk about the trend of romanticization and how that can actually lead to regression. I think the idea of appreciating the small things in your life, like your morning coffee and walks through your neighborhood and a home-cooked meal, that's all very important. And all of that does fall under the umbrella of the romanticizing your life trend. But the danger begins when we start repackaging harmful ideas through romanticization. Because once we start doing this, it becomes harder and harder to differentiate what is harmful versus helpful. Romanticizing the idea of cooking for yourself every night versus the idea that women belong in the kitchen. Confusing getting to have a clean home with servitude, and minimizing the hard work that it takes to upkeep a home. Because the reality is that the majority of this romanticization content that is catered towards women is actually just repackaging harmful traditional gender roles. Tying soft life to femininity is really just glamorizing domestic labor. Romanticizing being taken care of is really just financial dependency. The idea that you should let a man lead you because it's masculine energy is really just telling you don't have agency and that you aren't capable of decision making. And it starts to tell you that men are natural leaders and women are nurturing. None of these concepts are new. Sexism just got the best rebrand that marketers have ever seen, when they really just put a bow on it and called it coquette. And the ironic part isn't just that the romanticization is dangerous, but so often the people who are posting these videos don't even live the same life that they show. We all know that the concept of the trad wife is growing. But there are layers to this concept, and not all of them look so extreme. The basis that we see in so many of these videos is romanticizing the idea of depending on your partner financially. It sells you the idea of never touching your wallet and not working so that you can drink matcha and go to Pilates all day, and they call it the soft life. And I want to be clear, there's nothing wrong with a man paying for your meal or buying you things. But these small ideas that softness implies financial dependency is what leads to these concepts of trad wives becoming more popular, and is also the beginning of a pipeline that can lead to regression. Because a romanticize is not working, and instead serving your partner and taking care of the home. But the reality is the majority of women are not financially dependent. Trad wives claim that they love serving their husband and not working, yet they have these huge social media followings, which therefore is their job, meaning that they are not financially dependent. And because they are in fact making money, this allows them to free themselves if something goes wrong in their marriage. And when they claim not to be working, it also minimizes the hard work and hours that women put into their business. Because yes, social media is a business. These videos romanticize a lifestyle that they themselves do not live. Because financial dependency is not soft. It is the very thing that trapped thousands of women in abusive marriages for decades. And there are still women today that are trapped in abusive marriages due to not being able to leave because they do not have financial freedom. And romanticizing domestic life doesn't just enforce gender roles. It can also make us forget that these privileges are not universal. The parts of domestic life that get romanticized, the home, the cooking, getting to spend time with your kids, those are all privileges too, but not in the way that the internet frames them. They tell women that we should take care of the home as if it's some privilege that we get for being a woman. And to a certain extent, there are privileges in that, because having a home is a privilege. Having 4 walls and a roof is a privilege. Being able to decorate and cook and feed yourself and spend time with your kids, those are all human privileges, not gendered ones. Every human deserves shelter. Every parent deserves time with their kids, but not everybody gets that. I myself want a nice home, a healthy relationship. I want 4 kids, and I also want a successful career. Because you know what else is a privilege? Having an education, having an opinion, having a job, having your own money that you're able to spend, and the ability to relax, and Having a household where one income is enough to live comfortably, which I hate to break it to you, but that is incredibly rare nowadays. So you should appreciate all the small pleasures that life gives you. But we need to be careful when there are underlying messages of society telling women which emotions are acceptable, which traits are strengths, and which ones are weaknesses. Because those messages can all be hidden under the romanticization. And when they are hidden, it's easy to internalize them without realizing it. Because the exact traits that are romanticized in these videos, the ones that we claim to love about women, are the exact ones that they weaponize against us. They say that women are nurturing, which is exactly why they are the heart of the home, which implies emotional strength. But then they tell us that we can't make decisions because we are too emotional and not logical enough. They suppose that positive traits are then used to justify the negative things that they say about us. And the ironic part is that calling women emotional and men logical is based in emotion. Studies show that men and women actually experience emotions equally as intensely. The only difference is that men are less likely to express these emotions in public. Women are more likely to express sadness or empathy, but guess which emotion men are more likely to express? Anger. However, what you're willing to express is not the same as what you feel. Men are taught that emotions are bad, so they are more likely to suppress their emotions, which we all know can lead to a lot of hard issues for them. But the craziest part is that suppressing your emotions doesn't make you more logical. Studies show that it can actually make decision-making worse. And this is backed by science, and it's just one example about how incorrect ideas about women are used to justify gender roles. But romanticization isn't about science, and gender roles are not backed by logic. And that's the tricky part about romanticization, because even when the logic behind these roles falls apart, the aesthetic can still make it seem appealing. It's not bad to enjoy these things, and it's not bad to want to do some of these things for your partner. I love to bake, and I love baking for the ones I love, and if I have a crush, I will be baking for them, and I love uplifting my partner. And I have so much respect for stay-at-home moms. I don't think everyone's life needs to look like mine. But so much of the ways that we have romanticized life and relationships are not about being a good partner. It's about undervaluing the work that women do and forgetting why we fought for the ability to have more. The problem is we've started repackaging old gender roles as empowerment because of the rose-colored glasses that we now get to wear. But you are not wearing rose-colored glasses because you are feminine. You are wearing them because of feminists. Because feminism created a world where you can leave an abusive situation because you are not dependent on them financially. A world where you can cook and clean for your husband and still get a divorce if you wanted to. Which, by the way, no-fault divorce was not legal in all 50 states until 2010. Your lifetime. You get to wear rose-colored glasses because you can go shopping for all the shoes you want with your own credit card. And you get to romanticize your life because you have a choice in it. It's so easy to romanticize when the visual comes with a stunning robe and perfect makeup and hair. When home care looks like expensive interior design so clean it looks unlived in. And then we associate that with femininity and softness. And maybe in a way that is current femininity. Wanting to seem so effortlessly beautiful and put together while nobody sees or acknowledges all of the hours of hard work and labor that go behind every action. Because I don't know about y'all, but nothing about cleaning with harsh chemicals sounds soft to me. Because the same way that we repackage cleaning, we also repackage other old ideas. They tell you to be soft. They used to tell us to be quiet, to not take up space, that men don't like a woman with an opinion, to stop being so loud. Because the greatest danger is a woman who knows her worth and is willing to take it. They tell you that femininity is associated with beauty, so that you can hate yourself, while they invent new insecurities every day so that you don't see your worth, so that you rely on somebody else to tell you it. They take your money every time you get your nails done, and they profit off of your plastic surgery. I enjoy makeup and fashion, and I have my nails done right now. Beauty can be powerful, but it can also make you a slave to the system. And when you romanticize it all, it becomes harder and harder to differentiate which side of the spectrum you fall. We have distanced ourselves so much from the reality of so many women that their past lives begin to sound like the ideal, all while they were fighting for a life that could look like yours. You take your privilege for granted because they fought so that it wouldn't feel like one. And now society sits in the change they made and try and call their movement the enemy. So before you romanticize your life, think about who it benefits. Is it something that's actually making your life more fun? Something that makes you appreciate the small moments? Something that brings excitement to the mundane? Or is it regression, relabeled as femininity? The best way to fight progress is to make oppression look empowering. The more people who wake up to the problems of the world, the more in danger those who hold the power become. And if you're wondering why the world seems to be getting more conservative, why the world seems to be readopting so many old traditional values. This is why. Those in power cannot afford progress, because the more equal we become, the more they lose their leverage that they once had. As they say, when you're accustomed to privilege, equality starts to feel like oppression. But it becomes harder and harder to hold that power because we now have enough history to recognize oppressive patterns. So the solution to holding power is changing the patterns. And what better way to control people than to convince them to do it themselves? To put yourself in a cage because it looks aesthetic. To give up your financial independence because it makes you look soft. To give up your power in the name of being feminine. And then get you to spread the word that this is how it's meant to be. Oppression seems nice when they tell you it'll make your life easier. Who needs to think when a man can do that for you? Who needs financial independence when a man can provide that for you? Who needs choice when you only have one? Who needs a voice when you were always meant to be powerless? You can hide behind romanticization in the same way that you can hide behind a man. Or you can recognize that we were not only always meant for more, but also capable of more. The life of your dreams doesn't have to come at the cost of your independence. That being nurturing can also look like being educated enough to make a difference. That perhaps the reason you don't view women as leaders is because they were never given the chance to. That being provided for doesn't have to be financially. It can also be emotionally. That being a woman has always been powerful. That femininity is also being opinionated and educated and loud and taking up space. Women were never meant to be small, so don't let the propaganda behind the perfectly curated video tell you otherwise. You are nurturing enough to be a mother and capable enough to be a provider. You are strong enough to lead a country. You are smart enough to make impactful decisions. You are worthy of all of the dreams that men are given permission to have. You deserve a life full of everything you romanticize without ever limiting your potential. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Touching Grass. Once again, my name is Sophia. For more episodes on social media Reddit dissection, exploring the human experience, you can subscribe here on YouTube. I'm also on basically all the streaming platforms, Spotify, Amazon, Apple, whatever you prefer. I hope you guys stick around. Please leave a comment. I would love to engage with you guys and hear your guys' take on this. But that's it for today. I post every Tuesday, so until next time.